This is HQ, delivered by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza. For the first time since the 1963 AFL Divisional Playoffs, the Buffalo Bills and New England Patriots are meeting in the postseason. But these two division mates very familiar with one another outside of that. This will be their third meeting this season. They split the regular season meetings, and the Bills have actually won 3 of the last 4. We always see the footage of those cold weather playoff games from the Bills in their 90s heyday, and hey, we're hearkening back to that here. Both teams will have to deal with frigid temperatures come kickoff. Forecasters saying this could be the second coldest game ever played at Orchard Park. Temperature expected to be in the single digits. Coming in, the Bills favored with the over-under set at 44. Well, I'm not sure how many people will hop on that over given the conditions the teams will be facing. Danny Kanell and Super Bowl champion London Fletcher joining us here to talk up that game. Hey, did you guys ever face each other, by the way?
You know, I watched London beat up on Chris Chandler, who was the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. I was the backup, and that was the Super Bowl. That was the greatest show on turf. And I remember thinking, thank goodness I'm not out there getting whooped up by these guys. So fortunately, I was able to dodge London. I didn't have to face him.
Yeah,
it could have gotten ugly.
Those were good times. Very good times.
Danny, as we often say, it's very hard to beat another team twice in one season, but that's exactly what's going to happen for one of these two teams tonight, the Patriots or the Bills. What adjustments do you expect these two teams to make for this particular meeting?
Well, to me, this is all about those adjustments and putting in wrinkles that you haven't seen. Because when you have this much film on an opponent, when you've seen a divisional foe, twice, and you get them a third time, you're playing to get smart. Like, that to me is what separates guys like London who play a long time, Pro Bowls. They're not only incredible athletes, but they're smart, and they recognize patterns. They recognize, techniques, and they just see things, and it becomes familiar, so they know how to stop them. So to me, the adjustments are the little wrinkles, the new things you might throw at them. Offensively, you might throw in a new formation. You might put in a new motion, something that you haven't seen, maybe in the previous matchups that you've played against, but also in the previous 4 to 5 games. Defensively, you might throw a new coverage, a new blitz at somebody, just to try to throw them off their game. So, and then it's how fast do you react. That chess match becomes in-game. But to me, the adjustments are the things that you can throw new. And I faced Bill Belichick a couple times. One of my last starts in the NFL, I was with the Denver Broncos and faced a New England Patriots team. And I'll never forget, Gary Kubiak was the offensive coordinator. He said, anytime you face Bill Belichick, you have to be ready for the kitchen sink. And sure enough, I went back, studied a lot of previous games, didn't have time to watch the entire season, but there were things that I saw from his defense that he hadn't showed all season long. And we had to, scramble. We're trying to make those adjustments on the fly. I guarantee you the Bills will see some of that tonight, something they haven't seen previously from the Patriots, even these first 2 times this season.
Danny, you're absolutely right. I know all about facing Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. I spent 5 seasons playing for the Buffalo Bills. And when I look at this game and who's going, as far as adjustments being made, and you talk about Bill Belichick making adjustments on the defensive side of the ball, one thing that they haven't done a ton of when facing Josh Allen is blitz him a lot. And I think this past ball game where they played against the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen had so much time to go through his progressions and then sit back there and find open receivers. Belichick is not going to sit back and allow that to happen this particular time. In the past, they would, hey, we're going to do a 4-man rush, kind of have a contained, controlled rush. I expect the New England Patriots to blitz Josh Allen a lot more in this ball game, play a lot of man-to-man coverage and say, hey, you know what? We're not going to allow you to sit back here, pat the football for 3 and 4 seconds, and then pick our secondary apart. Because if they allow that, the Buffalo Bills, they have a ton of weapons in the receiving core and also with Singletary. And Josh Allen, he'll find those guys. The Patriots will bring more pressure to Josh Allen this day because the 4-man rush hasn't been working for the New England Patriots lately.
You mentioned Devin Singletary, and we know both teams can run the ball. We know what the Patriots did in that first meeting on that cold night in Orchard Park with the wind whipping at 50 miles per hour. But at some point, they're going to need Mac Jones to throw the ball. We know what Josh Allen can do. With that in mind, maybe it's not the matchup you're looking at, but what is the top matchup that you're watching in this game, London?
Well, the top matchup that I'm watching is going to be Stephon Diggs versus J.C. Jackson. And when you look at what Stephon Diggs has been able to do against the New England Patriots, in his last 3 ball games alone, he has 20 receptions for 281 yards and 4 touchdowns. And J.C. Jackson has been the primary defender covering him. As I mentioned, the New England Patriots, they love to play a lot of man-to-man defense. And J.C. Jackson, he's drawing that straw, over and over going against Stephon Diggs. That's the matchup that I'm watching for. Whoever wins that matchup, his team will win that game. J.C. Jackson, tremendous defender, all-pro cornerback. Stephon Diggs, one of the best route runners in the National Football League. He's great at getting in and out of, getting separation at the top of his route. As Danny knows, quarterbacks love that type of route runner. I'm going to be paying close attention to that matchup.
Guys, I might be Captain Obvious with this matchup that I think is the most important in the game, but we're seeing the conditions, right? Sub-zero, potentially wind chill. Very similar to what we saw the first meeting around when the Patriots only threw it 3 times because they didn't have to. They ran Damian Harris over and over and over again. So I think it's going to be a similar type game plan for the Patriots. So I'm looking at the Patriots run game, Damian Harris versus the front 7 of the Buffalo Bills. And to me, this is one of those test your manhood type moments for the Bills defense because they're going to know what's coming. I don't think Mac Jones is equipped. And it's not a knock against him. We haven't seen rookies in the playoffs have much success. He's only thrown it 16 times in these 2 matchups. So I think even Bill Belichick knows his limitations. He's also a guy, we talk about the weather conditions, somebody who hasn't played very much in freezing temperatures. I think this is going to be all about the physicality up front in the trenches. So can the Bills slow down that, force it on Mac Jones to be able to throw the football and take away Damian Harris's ability to run the ball, who's had a sensational season. 15 touchdowns rushing is only second to Jonathan Taylor, who leads the league. This, to me, is all about the trenches.
So when you talk about – sorry, let me go ahead.
No, and just to touch on what Danny is talking about, we mentioned the weather in this ball game. I know from experience, playing against a physical, bruising type of runner like Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson for the New England Patriots, those defensive backs and those linebackers, they're not going to want to tackle those guys over and over and over again. And that's why I truly expect the New England Patriots, like Danny mentioned, to want to run the football and get into the fourth quarter, and then they possibly can break a long run.
Okay, but Danny, as a quarterback yourself, and having watched Mac Jones and talking about what Mac Jones can do and possibly his limitations, if the game is on his arm, do you trust Mac Jones at this point to get it done?
I've been blown away. I went to the Patriots game. HQ sent me up there to Foxborough to watch the game against Tom Brady. And that was my first chance at seeing Mac Jones in person. And he went toe-to-toe with the GOAT, the guy he was replacing the shoes for. He's got moxie. I like what he's brought to the table. I think he's over-exceeded the expectations that most people had. But to answer your question, I feel like I'm propping him up to say no. I don't think this can be a game where Mac Jones gets in a shootout type of situation with Josh Allen. Josh Allen has proven himself to be one of the better players in the league, an MVP candidate at times. At this point in his career, Mac Jones to me is more of a game manager. I don't think he's equipped to throw it 30-plus times in these conditions against that Bills defense.
As you said, though, Mac Jones has gone above expectations for most of this season with the Patriots. Time now for winning ingredients delivered by Papa John's. We talk about ingredients making a better pizza. Ingredients on both of these teams will send one to the divisional playoffs. Give us the pick, London.
I'm going to go with, I played for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
But I'm not even making a homer pick here. I truly believe the Buffalo Bills will win this ball game. I'm going with the under. I'm taking the Patriots with the points. I think the Bills win this game by a field goal. It's going to be a tough, hard-fought, physical football game. But I think at the end of the day, the home field advantage for the Buffalo Bills will make the difference playing in that game. And just the ability and the greatness of Josh Allen will be what propels the Buffalo Bills to the victory.
I'm with you, London. I lay the points with the Buffalo Bills. I like this team to get it done. We talk about the limitations. I do think they'll be able to stop the run game enough to where they'll get the stops they need. And I think Josh Allen's legs are the critical difference here. We saw it in the second matchup, what he was able to do. He had 64 rushing yards. I think Buffalo will try to do something to counter. The thing is, even if you have a pretty big physical presence that shadows him, that spies him, he's a big dude. You can't bring him down with just one guy. And third and fourth downs will be the critical component. This one, we saw the Bills have a ton of success. Even Bill Belichick talked about situationally how that's one of the more key matchups in this game. But it is so tough to stop a dual threat quarterback. I think Josh Allen's legs are the difference. And Jeremy, you asked, do you think anybody will take the over?
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for it. I'm going to say the Bills win 27-21 over the low total. I think, yes, the game was, but London talked about the man-to-man, matchups that New England likes to run. I think that presents some big opportunities for Buffalo to get some big plays. Josh Allen's legs, getting Stephon Diggs running yards after the catch. And I do think New England will have some success scoring, running the football, putting up some points on their own. So I think it goes over the total as well.
Danny Kanell and Super Bowl champion London Fletcher giving us the wild card breakdown for Saturday's 2 games. London, great having you along. Enjoy the games today, both of you. And another reminder, you can catch the game tonight, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. The latest Ice Bowl from Orchard Park is temperatures expected to be in the single digits and below zero when you factor in that wind chill. The Patriots and Bills, that game on CBS and also streaming on Paramount+.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.